Paladins has a lot of mechanics. Some of them counter each other, and in order to win more games you have to know what counters what. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. For example, there are some items that work as a trap for new players. For a long time it was aggression, then it became death hands. But what if I'll tell you that the item that loses you the most games is cauterize? Cauterize is an infection that needs to be cauterized. Yep, I mean it, and today I want to address the topic of itemization, something that I wanted to touch for ages. Your itemization sucks, dude! As you can see, there are a lot of players that think that you have to counter healing at any cost. Cauterize is the #1 item that you have to always spend all of your credits on. Regardless of what the setup is, regardless of what champion you are currently playing, regardless of what playstyle you want to implement this time. You see healing, you must counter it, because healing is the most dangerous aspect of the game, right? More than that, it's the only aspect in the game. There are no other mechanics. Healing is everything. Whoever has the best healing wins, 100% of the time, блять. Healing is scary. Healing molested me when I was 8. Anyways, this is the logic that reduces your chances of winning by a huge cut. If you are one of those who just gonna put a dislike here, leave a mean comment such as "You noob, cauterize is a must" and keep it up with the same playstyle, you're gonna be losing to people who actually will take this video into consideration. I'm not here to troll anyone or call people out for not being the best at the game. We all had some misconceptions in the beginning, but the massive pressure from the Paladins community to pick cauterize 100% of the time. It's time to stop, alright? This game not only has a meta for champions like in Overwatch, which is a stupid concept that doesn't work outside of pro scene, it also has a meta for items, which is even dumber than meta for champions. And today I will prove you that you can win more games by not buying cauterize. Look at this game. It's the last round, both teams got a support, but one team has 2 cauterizes and the second team has all 5. 4 of which are level 3 already. Who do you think is gonna win in this situation? Basically, at this point the team on the right has an upper hand, right? We have no chances. There is nothing we can do without healing, right? Well, obviously we smashed the absolute shit out of the full cauterize team. And our snack still managed to output 140,000 heals anyways. How did that happen? All the players here played pretty well. Everyone knew how to use skills and what positions are best, except Barrack actually, but about that later. The only actual reason we won was itemization. Every minute we spent in the match, my team was becoming stronger and stronger compared to the enemy team. That didn't really progress, up to the point where in the last match we just went through them like a hot knife through butter. And it's not like our champions were more OP than theirs, it was all about items. First, let's take a look at my team. Drogos got Wrecker in order to deal with Barrack's shield, and Haven so he won't get bursted down as fast. If Cassie and Lian can't burst him down fast enough, they are ineffective. Drogos can hop away and stay behind the corner for a few seconds and heal back up. Cauterize doesn't counter it. Shalin and Makoa as the best fraggers bought cauterize. It makes perfect sense when only 2 people on the team got it. And also they are the guys that kill here, so if someone has to get cauterize, it's them. Also they again got Haven, so they won't get bursted down that hard. Even though Makoa and Shalin have about the same DPS as Lian and Cassie, my teammates could easily outrate them, because they got Haven instead of unimportant stuff. Also, Makoa has a Master Riding that allows him to get in the better position from the start of the round, which means he will have a better angle on the enemy team, which in return means that they will be forced to stand next to each other and have terrible angles on us. Great itemization. And what I've bought, again, makes perfect sense. Closed map, so for Inara, Master Riding is top priority. If I get on the point or the enemy side of the map, I can close the entrance and force the enemy team to attack me from terrible angles, allowing my team to utilize better angles. I can split their team in half. If by default we only own half the map, by buying Master Riding I can buy my team more ground to stand on. In addition to Makoa's Master Riding, it's absolutely devastating. throwing me out of the point once I'm already there is very hard, and even if the enemy team somehow manages to kill me, because of Master Riding I'll be back in no time. The only problem could be crowd control. All of the knockbacks that the enemy team has. Inara is very immobile and knockbacks can spoil my day. But not with resilience. So with these two items I assert the dominance on the objective and eliminate my counter. Boom. Now imagine us all just ignoring all the things that I've said above and just buying Cauterize instead of what we actually need. That would be retarded, right? And now take a look at the enemy team. They are pretty good players actually, at least mechanically. They all knew how and when to use their abilities. They could hit their shots. They knew the target prioritization, but their itemization sucked. However, the vast majority of Paladins player base would tell me that I'm wrong and buying all that Cauterize was necessary for some retarded reason. Let's see why is it so wrong and how could they win if they would buy something else. First of all, let's just agree on the fact that there is absolutely no reason to buy 5 Cauterizes against 1 support. This is retarded. It makes absolutely no sense. If 2 players shoot 1 target that is being healed, one of them spent 1800 credits for nothing. And they bought 5. 5, Carl. This is such an overkill that is not justifiable in any form. Ashe. Okay, caught on Ashe makes sense. She bullies the backline, she can reapply it pretty good. Yeah, why not? But morale boost, rejuvenate, really? This dude is a master rank, by the way. You only buy morale boost on a very few champions that have some insanely high potential ults, like serious. And even then it's very situational. Let's just agree that Ashe's ult is not one of them. All it does, it allows her to stay alive 3 seconds longer, at best. As long as MacLeod doesn't hook her off the circle right away. Buying morale boost here makes no sense whatsoever. Rejuvenate. She obviously got it to get more effective HP. However, it becomes absolutely useless if Shalin or MacLeod that had Cauterize hit her. More than that, Rejuvenate gets countered if we kill Janus, or if Janus just heals any other teammate instead of her at that moment. Why would she get Rejuvenate if she could get much safer item that does pretty much the same job, but isn't as easily countered? If she would get Haven instead of this crap, we would have much harder time dealing with her. And those 2 items do pretty much the same thing. They both increase the amount of damage needed to kill her. Why would anyone get Rejuvenate instead of Haven against 4 direct damage champions? I have no clue. Cassie and Lian. Overall they did pretty well. They were just slightly behind Shalin in damage, even though they lost, which means that they were pretty fucking good. However, they both decided to waste 1800 credits on Cauterize. And healing actually wasn't the biggest problem for them. The biggest problem for these 2 was their low survivability. They just couldn't be in the fight for long enough to deal enough damage to burst the tanks down. Even if they managed to kill someone, they couldn't turn the fight around because they were dying way too fast or had to retreat. How could they avoid it? Haven, kill to heal. With these items, MacLeod and Shalin wouldn't be able to burst them down that fast. And they could get more kills in a row and snowball a fight. Also, they could get Bulldozer and destroy my stone in 2 shots, which would screw my entire deck and a legendary. That way they could save each other from a cripple, and cripple for these 2 is death. But more than anyone else on the enemy team, Barrick is the one that fucked up the most. With the items he bought, he could as well not buy anything at all. This build was absolutely useless and made 0 sense. If others had some logic behind their builds, Barrick has bought items that do not work on this champion in this situation at all. Barrick, as well as Inara, is a defensive tank. He's good at protecting stuff and denying area. That's why the first item that Barrick should get almost every time is Master Riding, especially when he plays against Inara with Master Riding. There is no way his team could have won this match while Barrick doesn't take advantage of his strengths. If he would get on the point before me, it would be a challenge. Barik has higher DPS, he has turrets, he could really contest me on the point. He could try to kite me around the shield while shooting me with a gun and turrets, and he would have all the chances to win. But the moment he didn't get Master Riding just like me, he made his team to be on the back foot. He can't get on the point in time. His team gets zoned out before the round even starts. This build lost his team a game, and all because he saw support and assumed that countering him is the priority, while ignoring all the rest of mechanics in the game. In this case, he should have countered zoning. This is a golden example of buying cauterize that ruins a game. I've showed you just one example in just one game, but trust me, a lot of players do that mistake. Way too many games that you could have won, you lose because you are wasting credits or useless things that won't do any work for you instead of buying items that you actually need. Next, a little bit about loadouts. I'm not gonna be talking about that for long because this topic is way too deep. This is the comment below my Fernando guide. You didn't fucking show the brand card, which is the most important card for Nando. Brand card is the one that reduces healing, by the way. There are a lot of comments like this, and it all comes from players like Barik from our previous example. Paladins is a game with a pretty deep customization, which means that you can outplay your opponents on a bunch of different levels and mechanics. You can counter-pick the enemy champion, you can counter someone's playstyle by changing your playstyle, buying different items, and, of course, building different loadouts. And of course, the more customization options we get, the more chances to fuck your build up. Fernando is expected to get cauterized when he faces some hard healing. His flamethrower is one of the best weapons for this item. But some people, in addition to that, also wanna build a loadout that is fully built around countering healing. Cauterize effect doesn't stack. If you reduce healing by 90% with Cauterize and 80% by brand card, it's still gonna be a 90%. So now spending 4 points out of 12 in your loadout on a card that you won't even use, does it make sense to you? Building a deck and your items just to somehow deny one aspect of the game, it's not only a huge and unnecessary overkill, but also denies your ability to counter other aspects. In Fernando's example, instead of a brand card you could get hit transfer, and even if the enemy team gets wrecker, in most cases it's enough to buy you a few seconds to break through zone information. Or how about last stand card, the one that I've been talking about in the video. Again, much more useful than brand. So build your loadout to feel something that your items can't. You don't need to put all of your forces and resources to counter just healing. And if you will keep doing that shit, you are the reason you lose most matches. Bro, are you really diamond? Because as a flank you didn't buy COD in first place? As you can understand, this is a comment below a video where I played Xin and carried a very heavy team that was triggered, toxic, and with frontliners that were a bunch of pussies that couldn't do what they are supposed to do. I was trying to show how powerful a champion can be if you get a right loadout and buy right items. Some people, however, do not want to see it. They saw that I didn't get cauterized, and that means that I'm a noob that doesn't know how to play and what to do. During that game, at no point the enemy's healing was a problem for me. More than that, we had Fernando and Ceres that had cauterized. Buying more of it would be, again, an overkill. And I know that Xin is a bit confusing champion, so let me explain a little bit about how you build this weird champ once again. Xin's playstyle is fully built around being annoying while not dying. He's not an Androxus, he's not an assassin that gets behind you and kills everyone with his insanely high DPS. No, that's not what he does. That's not how you play him. As Xin, you wanna get in the enemy's faces, in the worst moment possible, make them shoot you and of course, kill themselves. Or to make them retreat and buy your team some ground. You can break through chokes, you can deny the highest DPS champion by standing in front of him and not letting him shoot. And then you can finish your opponents. That's how Xin plays. Now, how in the actual fuck does Cauterize help you do all of above? It certainly gives you some efficiency, but Is it enough for 1800 credits? I am 100% certain that no, it's not efficient enough. For Xin, completely fucking no. If you spend all of these credits on Cauterize, and the enemy Victor with a Hipfire legendary gets Haven with his 1800 credits, you are fucked. You are not gonna be able to outtrade him. There is no single way of killing him other than making him shoot you while in counter. But what if he doesn't? What if he makes you use your abilities and then catches you in between of them, when all of your shit is on cooldown? Even without a grenade, Victor can kill Xin in about 1.4 seconds. He will delete you. Your Cauterize won't do shit in this scenario. If I would get Cauterize in that game, I would be a part of the reason we lost, just like Barik was in our first example. How do you build Xin then? That's easy. First of all, Chronos. Simple math. Your core ability, Counter, has 7 seconds cooldown and a 3 seconds duration with the right deck. That means that Counter is only up for 30% of the time. Your Below has a 2.5 seconds duration. In total you can be invulnerable 5.5 seconds every 10 seconds. That means that you are a sitting duck for a 4.5 seconds every 10 seconds, or just 45% of the time. This is your downtime, that during it you can't do anything except just shooting, and as I already told you, you're not out-shooting Hipfire Victor, he has double your DPS. If you get Chronos, you reduce the downtime. Level 3 Chronos allows you to have only 2.4 seconds downtime, or 24%. It means that Chronos makes Xin invulnerable for a whooping 76% of the time. If Xin levels up his Chronos, then the longer the game goes, the harder it is to kill him. And if you can't kill him, he sure as hell will be able to kill you. I'll remind you that Xin can heal off of turrets and just random shots. With the right items he becomes stronger and stronger every minute. He can become almost unkillable. But you know what else he can do to make it even harder to kill him? He can buy an item that protects him from the highest burst damage in the enemy team. In my case, I played against Hipfire Victor, so I've bought Heaven. Now, with Heaven and Chronos, in order to kill me, Victor had not only to catch me within my 2.4 seconds downtime, which is not that easy by itself, but he also has to somehow burst me down when he deals 21% less damage. So he can't actually burst me down fast enough. If, on the other hand, he decides not to chase me, then even if I won't kill him, I won't let him shoot. I will kill his tanks, I will hold counter in front of his face every 5 seconds, not letting him to do anything at all. After Chronos, I would get kill to heal, because with it, I would be almost immortal. That's why I don't buy Cauterize on Xin most of the time. Other options just give me much more efficiency and allow me to be more annoying and just generally do more stuff. Well, that's about it. I shared with you my logic on buying items. Cauterize is not a magic key that opens all doors. Of course, I can't tell you what is the right item 100% of the time. This game has a lot of mechanics and everything changes all the time. Anyways, you need to think wider than focusing just on one mechanic that is healing. Otherwise, you rob yourself of ability to counterplay your opponents way too much.